Hey everyone, today I am at the University of Texas Arlington campus. You can see that back behind me. And there's some visiting parking there that you can park at for free on the weekends. But we're here to find the Lost Infant Cemetery, which is right in this park nearby. So we're going to trek over to it. We'll go down these stairs right here. This park is called Doug Russell Park. We'll go across this bridge. Located right on the campus. And pretty neat. They have several parks around here from what I saw driving around, but this is the one you want, Doug Russell Park. They are doing a bit of construction here. So if you decide to come here and you're watching this video, it may change a little bit. It's a nice little park. Got little walking trails, soccer goals and stuff, but immediately from that bridge, you'll notice the cemetery right over there. So you got to walk through these woods to get to it. So through these woods, I see the cemetery right over there. But as I pan this way, there's a couch right out here. This cemetery is right in the middle of this park, right by the University of Texas at Arlington. So there's a lot of dorms and apartments, sororities, fraternities, and stuff like that. I don't know if someone was moving out and they placed that couch there. Kind of an unexpected find though. But maybe they were moving out. This cemetery is also supposedly has a lot of paranormal activity if you're into those type of things. So I'm not sure, maybe the couch is there to observe some of that. But really, I can't see any reason why this would be a hot spot for paranormal activity. To me, it seems like a very peaceful place in the middle of the city. So this cemetery is called the Lost Infant Cemetery for several reasons. One, it's because it was just kind of hidden here in the park, and then it was found by some students quite a while ago. I think maybe a couple decades ago or so. But the other reason is this was an area for unwed mothers way back in the 1800s. See, today, it's not really a big deal for single mothers to have a child, but it was frowned upon at one time. So there was a Reverend Upchurch that started something here, had a home for the women, and basically they could live here and have their child. One of the first rules was they had to do their chores, and then they also had to care for their baby for at least 1 year before they gave it up for adoption. But many of the graves that are in here are infants. Maybe they're stillborn, maybe they were ones that died of some disease afterwards, or various things like that. But that's mostly what's in here. They do have this historical marker here. I thought we would read it. Placed here by the Texas Historical Commission. It's the site of the Baraka Home and Cemetery. The Baraka Rescue Society was organized in Waco in 1894 by the Reverend J.T. Upchurch, born in 1870, for the protection of homeless girls and unwed mothers. 9 years later, he opened the Berachah Industrial Home at this site. 10 buildings were located here, including a print shop for the publication of the Purity Journal. The cemetery, which contains more than 80 graves, was first used in 1904 for the burial of Eunice Williams, one of the residents. The home was closed in 1935, but the site was used until 1942 as an orphanage ran by Upchurch's daughter, Maggie May, and her husband, Frank Weiss, if I'm saying that correctly. So there might be another marker right here, it looks like. Okay, it is. This is right at the gate entrance here in honor of J.T. Upchurch, founder of the Baraka Home, May 14th, 1903, and designed by J.R. Coffin. Thought we would take a look around here, because this is kind of different, a cemetery in the middle of a park, but this was here long before most of this other stuff was here. So this is obviously one of the few adults that's in here, and it looks like Ann M. Petilios, if I'm saying that right, 1867 to 1917, right at the entrance. We're just going to have to wander around a little bit and see the different markers that we can find in here. It's a well-maintained cemetery. You can tell that it has been kept mowed. Beautiful, beautiful, large, old oak trees. These oak trees were probably here when the cemetery might have began, or at least when these homes and stuff were here. So right away my eye is taken to this marker right here, but I also see a row of little flat-lying markers here. So looks like there could be something here, but it might be covered up. And you can see where it says infant 19. There's no name or anything, and that's just one that probably was a stillborn or something, and so no name was ever given. Others in here, you'll notice, like this right here says Bobby, and there's no last name or anything. Now these don't have the last name listed for several reasons. One is maybe they didn't live long enough to be accepted into the family, but the real reason is these women were shunned by society. So if they left the last name here, it could maybe be connected to that woman. So it gave the woman or the young girl a chance to go back into society and not have this hanging or looming over her head or her reputation. So you will see quite a few in here that just have the first name only. Let's see what is maybe underneath here. Don't know if there's a marker or not, but it's just sort of, don't want to dig too deep. I thought we would get a little marker there, but I don't see one. There's several indentations in the ground like that. Here we have Eugene, Edward, Elsie, infant number 17. There are no dates of death or anything on here, or dates of birth. That says Martha. And here we have James. This one right here says Dorothy Myrtle Carter, January 4th, 1890 to February 9th, 1917. And it says erected by Mahingud Club. So it's kind of difficult to read. Someone has placed a cat up there on top of the Bible. This one says Laura May, infant number 16 here. It looks to me like there's a balloon for sure that says thinking of you, but there's a little toy here that's kind of withered away and busted with time. Wilmer, Bryce, Lena, looks like Marg, M-A-R-G-H, infant number 15. And then, like I said, here's some spaces in through here, but an indentation here where it makes me think that there's another infant there. Winfield, Alba May, Charlene, infant number 14, Margold, Edwin, Maureen, Kenneth, Roy. It's interesting, on some of these you can see little mementos where people have visited. This has kind of been washed to the side here, but there is a dinosaur in a car that's there. So people do visit here and they leave little tokens of remembrance. Here it looks like it says Jimmy. It's a little damaged right there, but I think that's what that says. It's a little chipped off. Maybe accidental as they're doing some of the care for it. Another indentation there, but it goes up into the foliage up here. Beatrice looks like there, and it's a little damaged on that as well. So there could be more kind of back up in through there. There's a few right through here. And we have Reba. There's another little dinosaur, purple one there. This just says infant 20, infant 21. This is a larger hole here. It makes me think that there was maybe a tree here. I'm not entirely sure though. Well, if you look back up in through there, there's a little frog living in there. He kind of crawled back in his hole real quick. I missed getting him on camera. But maybe you can see him moving in there a little bit. He's trying to get away from us, so he's going way down in that hole. So this marker right here has several things on it. As you can see, there are a lot of little cars and little different trinkets of remembrance there. Some different things right up on top of here, even a candle. This says Pearl Simmons, missionary from Baraka, buried in India. Interesting. Stuffed animal here as well. See what it says over here. Memory of Susie Singletary. Can't read the age because that's been chipped off for whatever reason. Matron in Baraka, buried in India, October 21st, 1915. So that's pretty interesting. Maybe Find a Grave says something a little more. And feel free to leave a comment below if you find anything on any of these, if any of them have a story. So I don't know if there are any markers in through here. Just trying to just do a quick scan to see if there was anything in between. And I don't see anything. I think these are places where there were trees. That is a huge oak tree right there. But I did see another row up here as I'm walking this. There's really no telling how many markers are in here that have just been covered up. Over time, you know, the dirt kind of washes on top of it. This says Creighton, and someone has kind of left a little Lego type car. I think maybe that's kind of like a Mega Bloks. My kids used to play with that when they were little. Ethel May, Ruth, Warnetta, some kind of little piece of a toy right there as well that someone has left. That's the marker that we were looking at just earlier. Trying to get a really thorough scan of the grounds. And this says twins. You can see several coins here, nickels and pennies, and also what looks to be an arm to a little figure maybe or something, and a dinosaur. But twins. No mention of whether they were female or male. Infant number 8. Frank. Infant number 9. Jean. Infant number 10. And then just some spaces in between. And here we have Alma Wells, 1907. There's actually a last name on that one, if it is an infant, which I assume it is, since there's no other year listed. Oh, I almost walked right over the top of this one, but it says Thomas. It's about swallowed up by nature. This says infant number 11 right next to it. Same thing. These are pretty well covered. Infant number 12 right there, just about swallowed up. There's several like that here. This says Josephine. So in another way, it almost seems like the lost infant cemetery remains to be true as Mother Nature is trying to take them over. Reuben and Homer. It's kind of sad in a way, but at the same time, it's interesting to find. Looks like this could say Albert. Yes, it does. I think what's interesting about this is what the Reverend Upchurch actually did was a very good thing. Josephine here, and there's one right over here. I don't really see a name on it though. Like I said, there could be more that go up underneath this foliage. The fence is just right here though. But I think what Reverend Upchurch was doing was outstanding. Can't really read that. It's all muddy and covered over. Albert and Margaret. And I think what is neat about it and peaceful about it is that if it hadn't been for him, these little boys and girls would have no place of memorial at all, no chance of surviving at all. And he and his wife definitely provided a place where they could find peace, the mothers and the children, and they could try to have a start in a society that shunned them. Here we have Pearl Carson, 1907, infant number 7. Nora Williams, 1905, and there is a car right there that someone has left. Looks like there was a tree here. There's an indentation. This says Maddie B., wife of J.F. McBride, 1881 to 1933. And then Cap Dewey, 1902 to 1904. So, little boy here. McBride is the last name. So people have left a lot at this one. There's a NASCAR up top. And a Jeep, little bear, golf ball, a SpongeBob figure, motorcycle, dinosaurs, all sorts of things at this one. In fact, this one may have the most items that I've seen out of any of them so far. And you can see the little marker for Cap right here. This is just kind of indented in here. Next to him is infant number 1, the very first one that was placed in the cemetery, or at least the first one placed here without a name. So we have infant number 2 there. So Cap is right in between infant number 1 and 2. Don't know if that meant that his date of passing is a good reference as to when this 1 and 2 were here or not. Velma, George. Here we have Ruth. Cannot make out a name here at all. It's just over time. Looks like maybe the rain. It kind of looks like natural erosion. But you can't really read that at all. Jesse Weaver, 1908. This one's different in that it just says baby. And you can see an indentation in the ground right here in front of it. There's a couple other areas where there's indentions in the ground where it's settled. Infant number 4, it kind of bounced all over because the row is right over here. Not this first one. The second one is where the infant number 1 and 2 in Cap was. And then here we get over here to number 4. Mary Hughes, 1907. Eunice Williams, 1904. And I think that was one of the first ones, if I recall what we read on that sign. I may have forgotten already. But Mary R. looks like. And we have Alfred. That looks like marble there. Some of them have remained white. Juanita there. Sammy. Ruth. There's several Ruths in here, I think. There's some kind of critter that has made a hole right next to that, but this is Etta, and there is a little car there. Kate Ellen. Infant number 5, and there is a car there as well. And a Josephine. Like I said, you can look outside of this cemetery, and that's the University of Texas at Arlington. Best time to visit is probably either in the summer or on the weekend when class is out. On the weekend, you don't pay for any of the metered parking. I parked right over there and didn't have to pay, but if you came during the week, you'd have to pay plus deal with the crowd of students. Maud Trice, 1913. One of the later ones in here, but first and last name on that. So the cemetery has sort of this rock border wall right here on this one side. I haven't seen it anywhere else. Now obviously you can tell that this chain link fence was placed here much later. Like I said, it's a very peaceful ground here, right in the middle of the city. You don't have to go too far and you'll hit the dorms. There's apartments right over here. There's a bunch of dental offices and stuff right down this road. And then you have houses not too far this way. So it's right in the middle of the city here. Well, that's going to do it for our little tour here of the Lost Infant Cemetery. Like I said, it's a very peaceful ground. Love the trees that are around here, and you can hear cars in the distance, but overall, to me, I just feel a sense of peace here. And I guess because it was a good thing of what Reverend Upchurch did. I don't have any feelings of it being haunted. I'm not a paranormal guy though, so I just can't imagine this being a place where souls are not resting. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you guys next time.